Today, I want to do something different. I want to try and lay out a four-phase plan to dominate and win in any industry. I'm also planning to use this four-phase or what you can call a four-step plan as I build for the fashion industry. So, the first phase is you pick an industry. If you're going to launch a product in an industry, you want to pick an industry. The second phase is you need to differentiate your offering. And this is very critical. I'll talk more on this later in the video. The third phase, which is very critical too, is you need to open source your offering. You need to do this if you want to really remain the dominant player and reach critical mass. And this really applies to consumer products. You can apply it to SaaS products, so B2B, but for a consumer product, this third step is very critical. And the fourth phase would be once you're able to satisfy phase 2 and phase 3, phase 4 will come naturally. And phase 4 is where you become the industry standard. This will eventually happen if you execute well on phase 2 and phase 3. It's the plan I'm using to build my current app, ClothMe. The individual phases are not new, but it's how they are applied that really matters and makes a difference. I'll use ClothMe as an example. For context, ClothMe is a fashion marketplace that allows consumers to buy a shirt or a pant using their sizes. So as a consumer, ClothMe will generate your size and use your size to match all the products in your city that fits you. So when you open ClothMe, every product you see is your size. That's the pain problem that ClothMe is solving. I've been working on ClothMe for a while now, and I'll be launching it soon. I'm one of those people that believe that you don't need to have to follow the norm. So my advice is pick an industry that you have some experience in, or maybe an industry that you love. It doesn't really matter. All you need to do to satisfy phase 1 is pick an industry. For me, I picked fashion because I've always had this issue of finding the right fit. And I love how fashion helps us to express who we truly are. Everyone wears some piece of fashion, and we have probably faced the same issue that I have faced. It's an issue that I've faced since I was a teenager. In my own case, the goal is to solve the pain of consumers finding their fit online by building a fashion app that puts size first and charters a new way for how fashion brands does marketing, which I will get into later, and how fashion brands eventually sell to consumers. Let me be quick to mention something. Even though I have a bit of knowledge as a software engineer and a bit of experience in the startup world, this for me is different. I don't have a co-founder, which means I have to write all the code myself. I have to do marketing myself, and I have to do everything in between. And this is the reason why I started this channel. So if you really want to help me and be part of this my journey, please subscribe and share the video. There's one very important challenge that you need to understand and you need to really consider. For most offerings, there are already so many brands. Like in the case of fashion, there are so many fashion apps. You might have similar challenge in whatever industry you pick. So it's something that I want you to be really aware of. This is where phase 2 becomes really critical. Because the question is, how do you differentiate your offering enough for consumers to immediately take notice? Because there is so much advertising, so much on social media. How do you differentiate what you're offering so that the consumer you're targeting take notice immediately without you having to spend millions of dollars doing advertising or trying to reach the consumers? To do this, you need to create a category. I'll repeat again. To achieve this, you need to create a category. This video is not about category creation, so I'm not going to go into it. But to give a context, categories is how consumers truly understand what your offering is about. Some people call it positioning. However, category is how consumers truly understand what you're offering. As an example, if I use the word e-commerce, you understand what I'm saying. So e-commerce is a category. Iced coffee is also a category. Streetwear is a category. You get the gist? If I have said Stoke or Bape, would you know what these brands will stand for? But if I say Coca-Cola, you know what it stands for. Soda. To do this for ClothMe, I created a new category called Size E-commerce. To know more about Size E-commerce, you can watch some of the videos I have on this channel. Maybe after you've seen this video. But I'll simply tell you what Size E-commerce is. Size E-commerce is allowing consumers to buy product using their size requirements in order to reduce returns. So by differentiating your offering by creating a category, will lead to more opportunities that probably didn't exist before. You never want to just create a better product. Rather, you should focus on creating a different experience that is better. I'll repeat it again. You never want to just create a better product. Rather, you should focus on creating a different experience that is better. The key word there is different experience. In the case of ClothMe, I figured out that the biggest challenge of buying clothes online is knowing the correct size. So ClothMe is not another fashion app. Rather, ClothMe is the first size e-commerce app with a focus on fashion. Along the way of me creating these videos and creating ClothMe in public, you would begin to understand how the experience is different to create a better experience. But this already is different. Remember, you should focus on creating a different experience that is better, not a better product, or not just a better product. Again, the goal for phase 2 is to create a different offering by creating a category, because categories will help you differentiate yourself. If you want to learn more about category creation, you can go read these books, or if you want me to create a video on category creation, let me know in the comments. Creating a category has the potential to make you the category king, which has a lot of upsides. A typical example is Coca-Cola. And that is why no matter the ads Pepsi does, it only reminds us consumers that there is Coca-Cola, because Coca-Cola is the category king. Just so you know, category own more than 70% share of the category. So imagine you create a category each product, and the category TAM, that's total addressable market size, is say 10 billion. You have potential of owning 7 billion of that category. Once you get to stage 3, you're probably now the dominant player in the category. But you'll most likely notice that there might be some competition. And this is okay, because this validates your category. But to stay as a category king, you need the third step. And this is what I call open sourcing your offering. I use the word offering to encapsulate both product or service. So a typical example is what Krug, the original single serve pod, did. Once they own the category of single serve coffee drinks, they open source it. They open it up. And that is what I call open sourcing your offering. So other brands can make single serve pod in the case of Krug. By doing this alone, they became the system, establishing their offering as the industry standard. They're not just another single serve machine in the category they created. Think of what Apple did when it created smartphone category with the iPhone. But Apple did not stop there. It open sourced its offering by creating the apps, which allowed you people like me to now create apps. That becomes what fuels the importance of the iPhone. This step of open sourcing your offering helps you to further dominate the category and solidify your status as the king of the category. So phase 2 and phase 3 are very important. Differentiating yourself and open sourcing your category. My goal for ClothMe is to open source it for any fashion brand any designer, stylist, even for individuals who have unused clothes that they want to sell so that they can reach consumers with the right size. Because again, what the pain problem Clothme is solving is allowing consumers find the right product with their size online. This is why Clothme is different. But it also solves the real pain for most of us, if not for all consumers, and as well for brands at the same time. For brands or use Clothme to reach consumers, you would do that without having to spend so much on marketing. Because remember, the goal of Clothme is to match you as a user with a piece of fashion that fits you. And once that happens, there is a hope that you will make a purchase. So Clothme only makes money when this happens, when it successfully matches your product to a consumer that has high potentials to buy. So as a consumer again, you don't need to spend so much money. But open sourcing Clothme's offering would solve the same pain problem for millions, if not for billions of consumers. When you get to this stage, you've become the industry standard. You should go relax now. You've dominated the industry. In the case of Apple, the Apple Store is the industry standard for Apple stores, regardless of you have other Google Play too is for Android, but Apple Store is standard, much like how the iPhone is for smartphones. If you truly want to change the world with a product, this is it. This is what you have to do. These 4 steps or this 4-phase plan should be your building block. Your guide. Use Anchor to for every major milestone, the process of creating a product. And I am sure that when you do this in an industry, that consumers like fashion, the reward, the benefit can be enormous, can be huge, probably for your stakeholders and your employees. And if you truly want to build a legacy company or a product, I argue that these steps or these 4 stages should be your starting point. Because I know there are other points in between, but these 4 stages encapsulate most of what you need to do. Once again, it's critical that you understand these 4 steps and 4 stages of building a legacy product. If you don't know me, my name is Paul. I release videos every week. If you want to join me on this journey, please subscribe and click on the notification icon so you'll be notified when I release videos every week. Until next time, stay focused, stay hungry. Bye-bye. Not just for you, but